Hello there, folks. It's Will or TubeMix, either will do, and welcome. Now, unlike the previous couple of videos, this one is more of a happier note. So, it's been announced today that Sara Cox will be replacing Scott Mills as the host of the Radio 2 Breakfast Show. She'll be starting in the summer, and it's been Gary Davis hosting it in the interim. And yeah, he's been doing a good job. In fact, I've just been catching up with it, yeah, it's brilliant. Unfortunately for me, well, once Coxie starts, then that'll be it, because I'm not really a fan of her as a broadcaster. I find her a little bit too hyper. But yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting because obviously, Sarah was rumoured, but I honestly thought, well, um, I thought she wouldn't want the early morning starts, and yeah, I thought that ship had kind of sailed. But yeah, nevertheless, um, she is taken over. And the BBC have said they'll announce who's taken over her tea time show in due course. Sarah has hosted that show since 2019. It got extended to 3 hours in 2022 because Scott replaced the late Steve Wright on afternoons. So Coxie got 3 hours then. And yeah, Sarah first joined Radio 2 in 2011. She covered for, she covered for Alex Lester first, and then later moved on to covering Vanessa Feltz. Then she covered Ken Bruce, and then she covered the Radio 2 Breakfast Show. She used to stand in for Chris Evans. And of course, Sarah's no stranger to actually hosting a permanent breakfast show, because she hosted the Radio 1 breakfast show for 3 years as well. So, yes, she's a veteran. And also, actually, she's been covering for Scott as well on the Radio 2 breakfast show, which again, I thought was very interesting, because I thought, that really did surprise me. I didn't really see that coming. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see who's Sarah's replacement. I mean, a lot of people on the digital spy forums are hoping for OJ Borge. My choice, ideally, just because I really wanted to have a permanent Radio 2 show, is Edith Bowman. She did daytimes on Radio 1. She covered for Coxie a little bit on Tea Time, and she's bubbly but not too hyper. She doesn't sound like she's bouncing off the walls. So yeah, Edith would be my choice. And yeah, I really wanted to have a permanent Radio 2 slot, because I really enjoy her when she covers in for Joe, and yeah, I just think I would love it if this is finally the time to give Edith a regular slot. But it may be that she doesn't want it. I don't really want OJ. I find him irritating, to be honest. That whole thing about, calling his son, referring to him as Junior Borge the second. And also, what's the other thing? He regularly says, I have a Belinda Carlisle story, but I don't have time to share it. And it just, OJ, I just find him a bit, I mean, sometimes he can be funny, but on the whole, I do find him a little bit irritating. So I wouldn't listen to OJ if he took over Tea Time. However, if Phil Williams was to come back and do overnights, then yes, I would listen. I mean, yeah, it's certainly going to be very interesting. I also thought that Sarah you know, being close to Scott, I thought, you know, she'd turn it down, and I thought Vernon would turn it down as well. So, but maybe she sort of realised, well, you know, it's now or never really. I'm not going to be offered. You know, who knows when this job is going to open up again. So, yeah, we will see. Yeah, and obviously last year Sara Cox did uh, her marathon for children in need, which was an absolutely, I mean, one of the most hardest of the Radio 2 challenges, I think, definitely. And I watched that documentary, and yeah, um, yeah, it's going to be interesting. And Sarah took over Tea Time in 2019 from Simon Mayo, because the year before in 2018, Drive Time was revamped, and Simon Mayo and Joe Wiley co-presented the show. Now, I loved Joe's show, and I do love Joe's show, and I loved Simon's Drive Time show, but that show, you know, it really, I honestly thought they ruined both shows really by putting them together. Because at the time they wanted at the time there was a lot of pressure to have a female in the daytime presenting weekday lineup, and they thought, well, Simon is used to having a co-host. He obviously co-hosts. Well, now it's a podcast, but then it was a 5 Live show with Mark Kermode and Mayo's film review. So they thought, well, who are we going to put Simon with? And in fact, Simon said himself he thought they were going to pick someone from local radio, and then they suggested Joe Wiley. And I think that's because Joe and Simon used to do handovers on Radio 1, where Simon was on mid-mornings and Joe was on lunchtimes. So, but yeah, it didn't work out, and yeah, Simon obviously ended up leaving for Scala Radio. Now it's Magic Classical, which, by the way, he's also announced he's leaving that. And later Greatest Hits Radio to revive his Drive Time show. So yeah, and unfortunately, when Sara Cox was taken over, that was just that was it. That was the end, really, for me. And to be honest, I haven't bothered with weekday Radio 2. I don't generally. I mean, I'm catching up on breakfast because Gary's doing it at the moment, but you know, there's only really Joe, Jamie Cullum's jazz show, and Sophie's Kitchen Disco on a Friday night. But yeah, those are the only weekday Radio 2 shows I actually listen to regularly. So yeah, pretty much none of the daytime weekday lineup. I mean, if it was up to me, and obviously if you're boss of Radio 2, you can't be just getting rid of DJs just because you don't like them. But I have to admit, you know, which is not what you should be doing, but yeah, if I was head of Radio 2, well, I'd be getting more, it'd be worse than what Matthew Bannister did at Radio 1 with his call of DJs, and yeah, there'd be hardly anyone left, because yeah, I do think most of the weekday lineup is dispensable, to be honest. Anyway, if you, yeah, I'd love to know what you think in the comments. Are you happy with the choice of Coxie? Or is there anyone you would have preferred? I mean, I'm just trying to think, who would I have chosen? Because, well, Gary was never going to get the breakfast show permanently. I don't think he'd want it. So, I mean, Matt Edmondson, I've never listened to Radio 1, but I have heard clips of him, and he does seem a very naturally funny and witty guy. Same with Greg James, and I've never listened to Radio 1, but I do like both of those choices. But yeah, well, oh well. And if OJ does end up taking over Tea Time, well, hopefully, I'd love Phil Williams to come back to overnights, but yeah, we will see. But ideally, my choice for Tea Time would be Edith Bowman, because I think she really, really needs a permanent Radio 2 slot. Right, if you want to, feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the TubeMix YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.